Hello, welcome to Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and you're watching Diaspora Network Television. And today we're delighted to be joined by Dr. Boomi Agbola. Boomi is a specialist in the medical field, has a private practice. What is it? 10 blocks from the White House called
Yes, it is.
Allergy. Dr. Boomi, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Very good, very good. I'm also always excited when I see the second generation African doing it in America. You're making us proud. Tell us about yourself.
Well, thank you. I feel like that this is what my parents wanted. This is what they sacrificed for. So obviously I'm Dr. Boomi Agboola. I am an allergist immunologist in the Washington, D.C. area. Basically I am from Chicago. I was actually born in Chicago. And I would say there is a very unique and fairly close-knit Nigerian community there. I know a lot of people think of like places like New York or Houston when they think of Nigerians in America or even the DC area, but no, from Chicago. Did most of my schooling and training out in Illinois, and then did my fellowship at Duke. So that kind of brought me to the eastern side of the United States. And then after that, just now, worked a few places in different capacities from inpatient hospitalist to outpatient, and now I own my own practice. So it's been quite the
We're
journey.
good, we're good. You know, African parents are notorious for always wanting their children to be three things: doctor, engineer, lawyer. It looks like you didn't disappoint, huh?
Yes, but I will say I had a natural knack for it. I don't think my parents really pressured me in either direction.
Mhm.
Um, like my dad actually even brought up the fact like maybe you could think about pharmacy because he saw a program where you could do like 2 years of college and then do the rest of pharmacy school, like a fast track program. And I was just like, no, I'm going to be an MD. I'm going to do this. I worked even as a dental assistant because that's the closest I could do under the age of 18, but working legally in the United States. So I just love the human body and healthcare. And I always had like a big strength in math and science. So just adding that with the empathic part of humanity, it was nothing for me.
And so, still staying with the parents, African parents in America, do we push you guys too much?
I would say yes. I think it's starting to change, as I start to see, people my age having children and the way they're parenting them, because we know what those pressures can be like. And we know some people who didn't do well with those pressures. But yeah, and when you're an adult, looking back now that you can look at things, you really see that it was coming from a place of love. Like it was really coming for like these are the best things that you can do to guarantee an income and livelihood for yourself and for your family and things of that sort. So I understand it. But now I just want, African parents to think a little bit larger because there's so many ways to make money nowadays that we can't just say you got to do this and these are the only fields you can go in. And what if that child just does not do well with that, but they're like a genius in art or something else, or they have amazing talents elsewhere where they can be very successful. I don't think we should neglect those things.
Yeah, but look at the success potential, though. I mean, when you look at these three things, and trust me, I am not your typical African parent that said, do this, do this, do this. But when I step back, they might be right. Because look, if you're going for med school, the success potential in terms of percentage is far greater than, say, when you want to be the next Jay-Z or you want to be the next LeBron. You see what I mean? And so
Right.
maybe we're going for safe, assured professions.
I think there's a way to balance it out because, when I was in high school, I played sports, but I always kept academics number one. And I think, there's a way to maybe go with, encouraging them to go for more safe careers while also still pursuing their dreams. So, if they don't make it to the NBA or NFL or the international football team, then they have something else they could do in business, or maybe they pursue law or something, or medicine even. Yeah. Which is still possible. Like, we shouldn't limit them to just that. Like, I say develop all of their talents.
Okay. We're going to do a quick exercise now. Just close your eyes and look and just think. Your 10 closest friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your 10 closest friends. What are they professionally? Let's go.
Okay, so my 10 closest friends, one is a nurse, one is a physician, one is a financial advisor. My sister is one of my friends, and she's a software engineer. One of my friends works in human resources, but she's a pretty high level human resource. Goodness gracious, one works in research. She basically helps to run clinical trials. So we have a lot of healthcare field people.
You see? You see, you guys, I remember my daughter when she was deciding on a major, and I know she's gonna kill me when she sees this interview. I say, honey, maybe you should try nutrition. Nah, daddy. Okay, so I kept my quiet. I'm there after like year 2 or 3. She calls me, Daddy, maybe you're right about this nutrition thing, and how much I rubbed it in. Is Daddy right or not? So right. That's the thing that I think the dynamics that's playing with African parents and because when you go to a party, one of my greatest joys is that when, like, my daughter has a party, for her child, and her friends show up, and all of them are just as you described. You see what I'm saying? And so it gives the African parent a lot of, pride to see that you guys are making it happen. So great. But let's go back to growing up in Chicago.
Yeah.
Schooling in Chicago. Doing your internship in Duke, North Carolina, right?
Internship and residency in Chicago.
In Chicago.
Fellowship at Duke.
Fellowship in Duke, North Carolina. Yes. Chicago, North Carolina, and then DC. What brought you to DC?
A job.
Okay.
I mean, I think we go where the money goes, right?
Okay, yeah.
So, going from Chicago to North Carolina, that choice was kind of left up to a computer, because we do a match system here that a computer decides. We rank them, the programs, and the programs rank the invitees. So yeah, but I wanted to go to Duke because they had the type of program that I wanted to train under. Okay. And then so I came to like this side of the Eastern United States. It's so close to so many different cities and things of that sort. So when I was looking for jobs right after fellowship, I was looking to stay either in the mid-Atlantic or the southeast region of the United States. Okay. I didn't actually want to go back to Chicago because I just got used to not being so cold.
Yeah. Wait, isn't it cold in DC?
No, not as cold as Chicago.
Not as cold as Chicago. Yeah, the wind in Chicago can be murder.
Like, I'll say right now, it's 72 degrees in DC today. It's probably like 40 in Chicago. Okay. So I'll take it. I'll take this type of cool.
Okay, very good. And then DC till you get to See the guys we watch on TV, political actors and everything. You're 10 blocks from the White House. Do you have any
Yes.
political notables as your clients?
I do have some people that I don't have direct Congress people or senators or president or anything, but I do have patients who work closely with them. I'll say some chief of staff, some interns, even a lot of people who are affiliated, some people who work in media. So you know, I get to interact with these people and sometimes get a
Yeah.
little little things here and there to get to know about the the
Is it
person.
who's the biggest act you treated? The biggest name?
Oh, I can't say that.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
That's patient confidentiality, but
Okay, yes, yes. I'll withdraw that question. But when you're treating them, is there a measure of intimidation there?
no, not really. Sometimes I think because they know they're a notable person, they're actually very laid back. They try to be as normal as possible. They actually don't give me a lot of issues. They just kind of want what they want. They say what they came for. They want the best piece of advice that I can give them. And they just generally just want to feel better. And my job is to, improve the quality of life or to basically avoid, morbidity or mortality.
Okay.
And so that's what I just focus on. But, it's just one of those things where it's just like, you can't help but be like, wow, this person ended up at my doorstep. So
Yeah, I know, I know. When the high profile health situations, cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, and all those stuff. But you hardly hear allergies and what's the other one that you do?
immunology as well.
Immunology. Who knows about those? Why are they important?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think more people are getting to know who we are as a specialty because people don't really think about allergies until like maybe someone almost dies from a food allergy. And then they're like, who does this for a living? And I need to find out where they are, or they walk outside in the spring and they just can't breathe. Their eyes are swelling up. They have a presentation to do at work tomorrow and they just
Yeah.
they don't understand what's going on. And so sometimes, we get the referrals from the primary physicians who may be the first line of people who see them. So the allergy stuff actually is quite easy. Then you do have the asthma that can be even triggered from the things that you're allergic to in the environment. And then the immunology side, a lot of times we see things from like immunodeficiency. Those are some rare conditions that can even require a bone marrow transplant. So,
Wow.
those you find very early on, like people really don't know that we do those things as well. But when it comes to like frontline, I would say a lot of people are going to be more familiar with allergists because the rate of allergies continues to go up in our population. And they also find that the more you develop a country, so the more you build it up with new materials and you're getting people more away from, rural or farm-like areas, the rate of allergy goes up.
Why did you choose it?
So I really found it interesting. Initially, I thought I would do hematology oncology. And then when I did my rotation in oncology, I absolutely hated it. so I said, okay, well, I can't do this for the rest of my life. So I need to figure out what else that I'm good at that I will find enjoyment, because I think more so for the long term of my life, like what will bring me the most satisfaction and also keep me where I'm doing the best for the patient because I'm happy. So I want to make sure that my patients are well, versus if you're miserable and you don't look forward to going to work every day, you're likely not going to give the best patient care if you don't like what you do. So I found this because of the immunology side that had a lot of overlap with hematology. Remember I said, like, even for some patients, there's bone marrow transplant involved. So that interest there is what got me into noticing this field, and then also enjoying the allergy side, because all allergy is the immune reactions you're getting from the external environment.
Right.
That's it.
There is this misconception that the second generation Africans are more connected to their country of birth than their country of their parents. How true is that?
That one, I mean, I think it's true, and not because that's the way we want it to be, but that's just the way it is, because you have to adapt where you live, no matter what the scenario is. You have to adapt where you live in order to, one, socialize, especially as you're growing up. You're socializing with your peers, the environment, your elders, your teachers, whoever. So you're adapting to a new way of thinking, a new way of life. So that's one thing. And so like with my parents, trying to keep that bond with Nigeria and our Yoruba roots, it's like, it's one of those things, but it's like, it's so distant and it's not in your face every day. I mean, outside of like the food and some of the culture in the home, you do lose some aspects as where it would be different if I lived there and grew up there. So
okay, what about your favorite food? They tend to be Nigerian, or they tend to be American?
That's hard to say. It's a mixture, but I eat a lot, and I eat a lot of different foods.
Okay, so for dinner tonight, I'm gonna sit in Accra and order your dinner tonight. Should I order jollof rice or sandwich or burger or spaghetti or eba? Which one? That's your menu. Choose for
definitely not a sandwich and burger. I've just never been that person. I would say I like more ethnic foods, period, more so than like American food. But if I had to choose for tonight, I would probably do something simple like okra stew with so with pounded yam. Yeah, just something simple, but I love jollof rice. I would never turn down jollof rice.
Okay, so there's something you should have known before you got to this interview. You don't mention the word jollof rice, because then I'm going to ask you this jollof rice, the Ghana Nigeria thing, this fight, which one is the best?
Nigerian jollof.
Oh my goodness.
Hands down.
Yeah. Oh no. That's because you have not tasted Ghanaian jollof, so I can understand.
That's what you all always say.
Okay.
What's cool, fresh and trendy with a new look? Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Ain't gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you flow. Anytime, anywhere. Natural mineral water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Nigerian Green Eagles playing the United States soccer team in the finals in the Olympics. Who do you support?
I'm going to go with Nigeria.
You have to guess. You have to think about it, which means you're really right in the middle, right?
I'm really right in the middle.
Really?
But I will always root for Nigeria in any sport because I definitely is one of those things where being in the diaspora of Black people and living in the United States that we always want to make sure that there's a strong presence for your African heritage. So if it wasn't Nigeria playing the United States, say it was Ghana playing the United States, I would root for Ghana.
Okay. Talking about the diaspora, can Nigeria count on you and your generation for development?
Yes. Yes.
Also,
I think as long as if our elders and the people who are in place make room for us, we will come. We will show up, we will develop, we will invent, we will do all sorts of things. I know it's always been in my heart, and I plan to one day go back and maybe set up a clinic or some type of service in Nigeria. It's one of those things where we hear about, like, the government and the corruption. And I think, I say every country has something, so that shouldn't be a barrier. But as long as there is a will, there's a way. And if they are open to creating that, we will come and we will make advances.
what percentage of your generation do you think shares the same sentiment with you? Because the reason why I ask is DNT, we're really big on the diaspora coming back home. Maybe not necessarily physically coming back home, but we believe the diaspora has a huge role to play in Africa's development. Okay, so what needs to be in place, and what when you talk with your generation, the second generation Africans, pardon, does a conversation come up?
Yes, I would say probably a good 50% want to do something. Sometimes I say with the other 50%, they get kind of caught up in their in their own lives that maybe they don't give it much thought because they're just like, well, I'm just too busy here. I'm working, I have children, I have this, I have that going on, which I can understand. But maybe as the children go on and you have more time to yourself, that maybe there will be more time for them to give back or to help out more. Because one thing that happens, and I think, I'm just thinking about Nigeria, is that you get kind of a what they call a brain drain. So people who even train there as physicians, when they have the ability to leave, sometimes they leave. So, it makes you wonder, like, so when I see my colleagues like that, and you ask, like, why did you leave? Why don't you want to practice there? And they tell you about the environment just not being the best to practice in, you kind of get a little scared, a little reserved. But I think when you're coming from the mindset like, I want to change things or I want things to be better, you first have to understand what's going on before you can want to change things. So, like, before I even think to open up a clinic there, one, what is the need? Where is it needed? How can I go about it? And would there be any issues if I was to actually pursue this?
Do you feel Nigeria extends enough of an overture to the diaspora?
No, I don't. I don't think they do.
What would you like to see the country do more of to attract the diaspora?
Well, one, when we're there, when we're exploring, when we're trying to do business, I think it's a little off-putting for you to have to pay off a lot of people in order to just get simple things done, because people are making money outside of their job. And I understand why. I understand it, but it just kind of is just off-putting to me because we're not used to things working like that here as much. If I need something for my clinic, I just simply order it. I don't have to try to hunt down 5 different people and pay each person to get the one thing that I need. So just making it a lot easier with coming there to do business and development. And I think they are I have a few friends in Nigeria who give me a lot of hope that things are changing. You know, they have basically what we have like here with the social security number, they have the NNIN number. So one, making sure that everyone's accounted for. So that can help with a lot of the culture change that needs to change in order to make the environment a lot more friendly. And I'll even give compliments to your country of origin. Ghana has done a lot of work to make it where people feel comfortable visiting Accra. And, you know, one of my favorite bloggers and podcasters is living there right now. And she's loving it. She's loving that she's able to, you know, just do her activities of daily life very easily, find the grocery store, go back to her apartment, get a driver to take her where she needs. And yes, you can get the same in Nigeria, but I feel like it's not as friendly to outsiders coming in to do what they're just used to doing as their everyday life in the US.
Are you familiar with medical infrastructure levels in Nigeria? Because I've seen a couple that were really up to date. Is that a trend?
Yes. So I do know a few people. There was definitely, I forgot his name. It was a doctor, a male doctor. I think he's of the Igbo tribe, but he basically was in charge of building like this state-of-the-art medical facility. So things like that, finding people like that, connecting with them, seeing how they went about doing it, how they got the machines, the CT scans, the MRIs over to their facilities. So a lot of that has to do with the groundwork. You know, if somebody's already done it, like there's no need to recreate the wheel. You just find out how they did it. Because I'm pretty sure, you know, they will want to make the country better and make the healthcare system better. So they'll happily like show you the way. So I think a lot of that also has to happen for those who have done it to help others do the same.
That's good. There's one burning question that will want to take me off track back to the second generation. I mean, in Nigeria, you're Yoruba, right?
Yes.
And I'm sure you're aware the relationship between Yoruba and Igbos, right?
Yes.
And Hausa. Okay. Does that filter into the second generation?
Not as much. We know of it. I will say for the Yoruba people, not as much. I think, you know, I can't really speak for the Igbo people, but I do know, you know, when it comes down to marriage and things of that sort, you know, I've heard even some stories of people being like, well, I can't marry anyone who's not Igbo or who's not this or who's not that. But I've heard it more from that side, more so than from the Yoruba side.
So from your side, would you accept a proposal from an Igbo boy?
I don't know. If I love him and he understands me and he knows what I want for my life and what I see for our life and what he sees for our life together lines up, then yeah, I think I would. I think my parents would be accepting, but it's one of those things where you have to know everyone won't be accepting of it. And
But
you have to be
your parents will be accepting, right?
I think so. I think my parents will be more accepting of it because, you know, their love is love, love, and the ability to make and grow a family and to have the same goals for family can be said with any two people who want to be together. Now, when it comes to outside family and outside of, you know, us two, we have to decide like if it's worth being together, if there's a lot of hesitation from maybe other family members or other family members who don't want to see it. Are we strong enough as a couple to go against them?
That was my next question. If you say your parents will be accepting, but what if they wouldn't and your love is so burning? Would you say, nah, this is America, I'm going with what I feel?
I think my parents trust me enough. to know that if I feel like this person is the one, that they would be willing to accept them because they know me. They know I'm not an easy cookie. They're like, if she says okay,
Right.
she's already dragged them
Right.
through hell and back.
Right. So back to Nigeria. You say that things are changing. What have you seen that gives you hope?
Well, I think that they're working. I know the Naira is not doing very well, but they're trying to find ways
Have you seen
to.
the city? Okay, that right now every currency is struggling against the dollar. So,
Right,
go ahead.
right. But I know that they're working on more ways to make the internal economy a bit stronger, to bring more industries and to develop their own things, like having more oil refineries so they can have their own gasoline versus importing it. Even down to chocolate, refining their own chocolate before they export it to other countries, which will help, with bringing in more dollars from the outside. So things like that will help strengthen the economy because we have all the resources there. We have the resources as far as like raw materials, natural materials, and the people. It's all there. The knowledge is there. So we just have to basically invest in ourselves before we even look to the outside.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. And I think we're working on that.
Okay. Ghana has Afrochella, and everybody and their sister, their brother comes here in December. Are you familiar with it?
I've heard of it. I've heard of it. I've heard it's a great time. And one of these years I will make it.
Okay. What do you think Nigeria should put in place to compete with that?
I don't know, but I think they should do something with like Nollywood and hip hop or something like that. Like, I think they should do something like with all the stars, Nollywood stars, Hollywood stars, and music, and just some type of festival, maybe similar to Afrochella, but maybe more with the Nollywood movie industry. So maybe something like a film festival, but just making it more worldwide, like make it like a really big event.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, you mentioned it's always a good feeling when Ghana will receive compliments like, "Oh, Ghana is doing well" and everything. But
Yeah.
look, we in Ghana, if you landed in Ghana right now, Ghanaians would tell you we're having the most horrible time in the world.
Right.
Would you believe that? I mean, would you believe that right now the people think all that's happening in the world, they think Ghana has it's worse than anybody else. Is that the same feeling in Nigeria? Do you know?
Yeah, but I feel like that's the thing. And I was kind of alluding to that earlier, where there's problems everywhere. I think what happens is the human brain focuses on the things that are wrong and not the things that are right. So if you hear from a Nigerian, they'll be like, oh, the corruption, the this, the that, and you would just think, oh my gosh, this is the worst place on earth. And then when you go and visit, you have the best time of your life.
So tell us more about it. I want to hear more. You see, what I'm yearning to see. We, like you rightfully said, we focus on the wrong. But yes. I know Nigeria has a lot of great things going for it. What are some of those things that you want to share with us?
Well, I always have a good time. I will say that. One, there's my family. So having your family there, that's number one. Okay. And then two, like there's just so much to do, like whether you're in like Victoria Island or something, hanging out, you're doing all the things that you could do here. Like you can go to the mall, you can go to the movies, you can go to a nightclub, disco, and have fun. And then also just talking with the people that are in and around you, like people want to know, oh, where are you from? Where's this? Now, I know that some people say, well, that could be dangerous. You could be set up. But I'm like, I don't think most people are thinking that way. I know you're going to have some people who are crooked, but I think generally, overall, most people aren't trying to set you up or harm you in any way. They sometimes just want to know how they can help you. And they find it intriguing sometimes. It's just like me being in DC, which is a big international city in the United States. When I meet somebody who's from somewhere else, I'm like, oh, wow, what is it like? What is going on? So just talking with the people, getting some of the best art. I love art shopping in Nigeria. I have some of the best sculptures in my home from, places like Agboola and Ilorin. I go to the
Go
art
as far
center
north as
there.
Ilorin?
Yes, because that's where my mom is more from the north area of Nigeria.
Okay.
And so, just yeah, I like Ilorin. I actually like Ilorin better than Lagos.
You like the north better than Lagos? Ilorin better than Lagos?
Ilorin, well, it's not all the way north, a little more central, but yeah, I actually do because Lagos is a lot. It's a lot of people, it's a lot of traffic, it's a lot of pollution because of all the generator use. Which goes back to allergies and asthma that can increase due to pollutants in the air. So I like it better just because it's easier to navigate, is a little bit cleaner, more organized. And like I said, I like the art center, the plays, the sculptures, the artwork. I love it all.
Good. On the note of glutens in the air, let me take you back to your practice because that's really the centerpiece of this interview. What don't the rest of us know enough of about allergies and immunology?
I think a lot of people don't know that they're suffering with them. I think, when people feel like congestion in their nose, yes, you can get that with a cold, but when it's long standing, when it's going on for more than 2 weeks, that could possibly be allergies that can affect your sleep. And if you affect your sleep, you can later on affect your blood pressure. If your blood pressure is high enough, you can even have a stroke. So all of those things could be accumulative effects that, if you're not careful, if you have long-standing allergies, can cause problems. Also, like going back to just the congestion in the face, it could change like the under eye area. It could change the mid-facial features. So even like with attractiveness in children, if they're suffering from allergies, can change how their face shape may end up as an adult. And then going more so to more serious allergic diseases, like say asthma, the ability to breathe. I mean, we take it for granted every breath that we take when we're not having issues, but for those people who struggle to breathe, who get an asthma attack, like it can get very serious and it can be life-threatening.
Cool, fresh and trendy with a new look. Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? You gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you flow. Anytime. Natural mineral water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Someone like you who were trained in the United States, you can pretty much in your sleep talk about the different medications. This medication will do A, B, C. And then there's also the herb side in Africa, right?
Yes.
From what you know about the human body, Which would you vote for? And if you had to have the herbs or the Western medication, do you know much about the herb side of treating?
I do know a bit because I sit on the integrative medicine board for our allergy society here. So I do believe in like natural and naturopathic remedies. So things that are a little bit more mild, like say some nasal sinus issues seasonally, you can use things like echinacea, steam up some herbs that can open up the nasal passages and things, and also do like things like certain exercises that helps with your lungs opening if you have asthma. However, I don't think it's necessarily a substitute for more severe conditions to use herbal medicines only and not to use your allopathic man-made medications, because those medications are a bit more targeted. So yeah, for mild things, maybe just a natural remedy would help to get rid of that. But once it starts to be more severe and persistent, then you probably are going to need a man-made medication.
But
And you can use both.
yeah, okay. In Africa, we've heard stories. I haven't seen it personally myself, but we've heard stories where the man-made medication, as you call them, were futile in solving the problem. But then they go and do ABC with this herb concoctions in Africa, and voila, it fixes it. Have you ever uh, been? Have you ever known about such situations?
I will tell you this: I have heard, but have never seen.
Okay. Okay.
But I am not above thinking that it's not possible. Like I think it's possible. I just have yet to see it.
Yeah, to see it. Okay, so the board that you sit on, that you talk to me about, what does the board do? What are they looking into?
So we look at different ways of different integrative practices in order to bring that over to the allergy side, or what has worked for allergic diseases or asthma or eczema and things of that sort. So we're open to always looking at alternative methods to treating the diseases that we treat. So, I gave a few, like, using different type of essential oils or herbs to basically steam up to help the nasal passages, maybe even make a small concoction and spray it into the nose. Could it help open up the airways? Absolutely. Different things like yoga or different type of breathing exercises that help people with asthma to open up their lungs, bring down some inflammation. So all of those things are things that we look at to see if how we can integrate them and advise our patients on. Because sometimes I do have patients who say, well, I don't want to use any medications. What else can I use? What else can I do? And having that knowledge does help them. So I say, well, it's not a perfect 100% approach, but you can use it or do this and see how you feel. And for some patients, it works, and that's all they need.
If your board identifies some African herbal solutions to some ailments, and you guys feel strong enough to recommend it to the American Medical Association, how accepting do you think they would be?
Well, first things first, a lot of times they're not accepting it unless there's research studies behind it. Right. So one thing that I am going to do in the future, and once this practice is more established here, because we just, opened up a few months ago, but look into possibly starting research studies, clinical trials, and maybe even looking at things like that. So, if we're using a natural remedy, let's compare it to what it is when they use nothing or when they use a placebo, to see, like, is there really a change in difference, or is it a psychological effect? Because once you publish those papers and those studies, that's really how you go about moving things up the chain, from just, yeah, possibly it could work, to there's hard evidence that this works.
Okay.
People want to see the evidence.
The evidence. Okay. The clinical trials or research. Okay.
Research.
That makes sense. All right. That's the allergy side. We've talked about allergy. Now let's talk about immunology. We're told that, oh, take your vitamins, vitamin A for this, vitamin C for these. How do those compare to, say, natural organic foods that we eat here in Africa?
The best food thing you can do is eat food. Vitamins, okay. But a lot of times, you know, they're concentrated, they're placed in some type of capsule or pill form, and it just kind of goes right through the gut, ends up in the urine or processed by the liver, and out the body it goes. Versus if you actually eat the food that contains these vitamins, because of the fiber in plants and stuff, it slows down the gut. It's more natural to the body. Your body absorbs it better, and you actually get the difference in the vitamin more so internally. So it is always best to eat a diet full of variety, full of plants, a plant-based diet with some meats. And I think a lot of African dishes are that, because when you break it down, like I told you when I said I'll eat pounded yam and okra stew. So you have okra.
Whenever you say that, you have this smile on your face.
Because I think about eating it. But you have okra there, you have tomatoes, you have peppers in there, you have onions in there, you also the pounded yam. I mean, that's a yam,
Wow.
or if you eat the stew, like say a goosey stew, that's nut based, so
Okay, I don't mean to get you in trouble, but did I hear you say vitamins are overrated?
Basically, yes.
Oh, wow. So stick with natural foods. And that may explain why COVID didn't kill us on the streets like people were expecting it to. Do you think it has something to do with it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think everyone was like, but what about Africa? Why aren't they being affected? And it's like, first of all, that's propaganda that you all think that Africa is not clean, that you all think is disease ridden and things of that sort. And especially, and just thinking about West Africa, the population is younger, healthier, eat better food. Like you were saying, burgers and sandwiches over here. Yeah, think about it. It's bread and processed meat versus there. Like I remember being in Nigeria, and when we were like, we want that goat. Literally, that goat was alive. And next thing, that goat is being eaten. Like I got to see where the food
I've never heard anybody put it like that. 1 minute that goat is alive, next minute that goat is being eaten. So it's fresh.
It's fresh.
Yes.
It's fresh. You could say farm raised because it's in its natural state. It's not full of hormones and things of that sort. I think over here we're not being as honest as we really could be about the food that we're eating. It's very processed. It's full of hormones. Even when you think you're eating as natural as you can, it's actually not the best. I will say this: when I leave here and I go and I travel like to Nigeria, or I've been to Morocco before, I've gone to countries in Latin America and Europe, I always lose weight and I'm not more active. I think, and I'm eating more.
Okay.
I really think it's the food.
All right. So let's do this. When you travel outside the United States, because you're hitting a nerve here, because when I go to the States, I put on weight. When I come back, I lose it. But now I find somebody agreeing with me. When you travel outside the United States, you're not eating less.
I'm eating more.
You're actually eating more. And
especially when I'm in Nigeria, because every family member is trying to feed me.
Right. There you go. But then when you come back, you lose weight when you come back.
And when I get back and I start eating the food here, I gain weight.
And you as a doctor, I'm sure you eat well in American terms.
Yes.
That's interesting. First of all, thank you for substantiating my hypothesis. Okay. So
You're
Thank you for that.
welcome.
Now, finally, finally, let's get into your patients.
Yeah.
You are a young Black woman doctor, and I'm sure there are old white folks who come to you, your outfit for treatment. And when you walk in as a doctor, what are the typical reactions you see?
Well, I would say for my clinic, especially where I'm located, it's very eclectic. The people here think a little bit more outside the box. I'll say
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So and plus, you go to my website, you'll see me. So
Okay.
there should be no surprise. If you came here, you know who was treating you. So
Right.
that's one. So I don't think they're very nice. People of other races, they're very nice. They trust my knowledge and my treatment and care plan. Now I will take it back to give you more of an unexpected scenario. When I was living in North Carolina, I would moonlight in certain areas, maybe more rural, sometimes really just in the, major city area. And I would say probably there I got more questions on where did I go to school? Because, maybe I was like either a foreign doctor, or maybe I'm like a student, or just not, or they don't know who I am. So I got more questions on, basically like my credentials. I would say I've had more people dismiss that they even saw the doctor. So they'll, I will see them.
After seeing you.
Yeah. You do the whole workup. You're letting me touch you, right? They're letting me touch them. I'm doing an exam. And next thing I know, the nurse told me, oh, the patient's complaining that they never saw the doctor. And I'm just like, then I have to go back in there and say, I'm your doctor. And they're
then what do
like,
they say?
I didn't know. I'm sorry, just kind of either sorry or just, oh.
Wow. Okay. So, your political leanings, I know you can't disclose them here, left, right, but you see them all in DC. Yeah. But I mean, was that what drove you to DC? That at least the people there are knowledgeable, they're exposed to people, they're open-minded and everything, versus rural North Carolina where you face these things. Did that play a role in you deciding? I know you say a job brought you to DC, but when it came time to practice, you had to make a decision where to put your practice.
Yeah. And I definitely would say the environment of DC being very international, meeting people from all over the world, which I've always loved, doing, being that I kind of grew up with an international mindset, to say. So definitely the environment, definitely the opportunities here, especially for a young Black person, are great into meeting, and also meeting like-minded people near you. I made some of the best of friends here, and I continue to grow my social group. And it just has been a place where I have really flourished. And I think, it's just so much full of opportunities versus some areas like in North Carolina. Yes, there were opportunities for me as a physician. I think there will always be opportunities for me as a physician worldwide. But I kind of alluded to earlier, why I chose one specialty over another is I'm thinking longevity. I'm thinking my overall well-being as well. Like maybe North Carolina isn't that great of a fit for me, but up here I will find, much more happiness in my own personal life, because we only have one life to live, and I'm glad I'm here.
Absolutely. Married, single?
I am single. But who knows?
I know, right? Finally, when you said whenever you travel outside the United States, you eat more, you're less active, and yet when you come back, you've lost some weight. That suggests to me that somebody is not looking to retire back in the States. I know it's far off, but if you have you looked into eventually where am I going to retire?
Oh, I don't think I'm going to retire here. I don't know where, but I don't know where.
You don't know
So
where, but you know you're not going to retire in the United States.
no, I could do Nigeria. I definitely see it being a place that's very warm, a place that is peaceful, and a place that just has everything I want and need. Yeah.
All right, Dr. Boomi Agbola, thank you for having. I'm just gonna pick up my phone right now and call my real estate agent in Lagos because he's going to have a client. You're coming.
Okay.
All right.
All right. That sounds good to me.
Thank you so much for joining Diaspora Weekly. For you watching, this is Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and we've been having a conversation with Dr. Boomi Agbola, who's the founder and the medical practitioner of her own practice called Ilera. What does Ilera mean, by the way?
So Allergy means health in Yoruba, or the state of being well, basically. And that's definitely what I want. That's what I want for all of my patients.
You got it. Dr. Boomi Agbola, Ilera, 10 blocks from the White House. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.